All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Leadership in Television Show with your amazing host, Ricardo D. Rice. So if you look behind me, you see another group of gentlemen who are ready and eager to share their experiences and their tales about the interesting world of entertainment. Yes, I know I'm a part of this world too, but I'm not as experienced as these guys are, so that's why they're here to talk about what's actually going on in their sector. One of these faces you actually recognize, because you know this guy right here, because he's always with us on the podcast. If you listen or watch the podcast on Fridays, Double R is always with us, but he's a specialist in the independent music industry, so I definitely had to have him on the panel. But I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and we're gonna go from there. So starting from my left.
How you doing? What? I'm glad to be back. I'm Double R. Go by Double R Music on social media. Independent artist, songwriter, producer, and engineer. And I'm happy to be here on the show.
Nice. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason C. Louder. I am a thespian. I'm an actor. I'm a mentor, coach, lover of life, and I'm truly grateful to be here as well.
That's cute. That's cute. What else do you do? Where do people know you from? Like, this is not the time to be modest. You can say that. Okay. It's not the time to be modest.
Okay. Well, I'm known as 2 Bits on Black Lightning, and you can also see me as Cressy on the Wu-Tang and American Saga on Hulu. So both of those I've been blessed to do, and then several other just amazing opportunities that I've been blessed to have. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh, it's tough to follow.
Oh my God. This is my problem child, everybody. This is my problem child.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Bobby Huntley. I am a writer, director, producer in the independent film space here in Atlanta and all over the world. And, you know, make stories, make movies. That's what I do.
What are you working on currently?
Ooh, so many things. Right now, my latest film is entitled Connect. We are in the film festival circuit, and we will be making our movie theater debut in Los Angeles. Hollywood will be one of the first films ever to screen in a movie theater since the start of the pandemic. So it's with the Michelle Film Festival. We are extremely blessed and fortunate to have this opportunity. So excited.
All right, so let's jump into. Let's start with music. So he's being modest. I'm gonna shake that because he's not modest by any stretch. He's not mild. All right, so let's talk about music because I've known you since 2009 when we were at AIU. So I've known you since 2009. Yeah. So I've seen your music journey go all over the place. But I can honestly say I never expected music to go where it's gone with streaming and the diminishing of what artists get paid, things of that magnitude. So what is the industry? Since you've seen it this long, what has it been like? What is it? All that good stuff.
I mean,
for independent artists, because we're talking about for independent artists. Explain what an independent artist is.
The artist that kind of moves without label backing. So I record on my own budget. I write on my own budget. Mix and master on my own budget. Market, present, shoot videos, write treatments. Hire dancers or actors to be in my bit. I do all of that, my own money, no backing. That's kind of what the independent has always been that. I don't want to say it's harder now because of the internet moves so fast. Like you could put a record out today and be famous tomorrow. It might have been harder moving the internet back then. Mostly because of the exchange from CDs to MP3, like the MP3. The CD, you know, I can make a CD sell it for $10. I can sell 100,000 of those out my trunk like Master P and go platinum. Now, if you got a CD, what's wrong with your car? Like, how old is your car? The fact that you still buy CDs. You know what I'm saying? And the sound quality is different going from CD to MP3 to Bluetooth. Like, it's just a lot. It's a lot. The space of being an independent artist now, watching the people around me, is different. It's different because the money is different.
What does the money even look like? Because how do artists actually get paid now? Because now that we stream and all this other stuff, like you said, we're not going to the store to buy a CD.
Right.
I can literally, actually, I'll be honest, with Google being gone, because I have an Android, so now Google is no longer an option. We have to use YouTube Music. Well, with YouTube Music, I pay, I think, $10 a month, and I can download anything, like anything. So how do y'all even get paid out of that?
1,600 streams is a purchase.
Wait, what?
1,600 streams is one purchase. It's a stupid number. It don't make no
How does it?
sense.
So you tell me that somebody has to download that song
No, they
1,600
have to
times
stream it 1,600 times.
individually or collectively?
Yeah, 1,600 cumulative streams.
So I have to stream that song
Not
1,600
you,
times. Oh,
but 1,600 people have to stream one song for it to count as one purchase.
how much is that purchase?
If it's a song, 99 cents.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it don't even make sense. Like somebody sat in the room and was like, so how many streams can we count as a purchase? Because it doesn't necessarily count as a purchase. If you release a single and your single go platinum, like the numbers don't make sense. So you telling me 1,600 times 1,000,000. That's how many, like the numbers don't make sense because you need 1,000,000 records to go platinum. You need 500,000 records to go platinum. But 1,600 streams count as one purchase on a 99-cent record. The numbers don't make sense.
500,000 to go gold,
Right.
and then 1,000,000 to go platinum.
and 10 million to go diamond, which is, it don't happen that much now.
Is that better for the label? I'm just thinking, I'm listening and I'm like, is that better for the label? Because I know it's not better for the artist. Who wins?
If you're signed, so if you're signed to a major label, what they do, and it's something that a lot of people don't, they act like they know what it is, but they don't. So if I give you, okay, you're a guy, you made a song that we like. Your song already out, it's already hot. By the time we meet you, all we do is just put the marketing dollars behind your music to make it go further. So if it's already gold, well, we need the label needs a platinum record to make money. So we're gonna give you $1 million advance. Most of these guys not get $1 million. They $10 million deal, just off the bat with not much work. $10 million deal. More than likely, if you get a platinum record, we'll make our money back. Very easy. But we advanced you your money already. So don't expect to check no time soon.
Okay, so on that note, because
Because
I mean we've talked about this before, we've never talked about that.
Yeah,
that is obscene.
But they're not wrong, because if I advance you $10 million, why would you think you'll make money before I get my money?
No, that part I understand. Like I get the upfront cost that most labels take on. I get that. But I guess my thing is for independent artists, and I have to have 1,600 streams for one purchase.
Right.
Like how does that? So I guess the only way I can do that is I have to make sure I hit every outlet, iHeart, Spotify, everything.
Yeah.
But 1,600, that's a lot.
Yeah,
for
most
one
independent
purchase.
artists don't get radio play. So what you would have to do is you would have to say, like, you could pick an artist and say, okay, on Spotify, you need, what's the number? Like, I forgot the number. To make $1 on Spotify, you need like 1,005 streams.
It's a lot because I remember they were having a whole conversation
to make
about that.
to make $1. Well, if you got 300,000 monthly listeners, that's monthly. Then you divide that daily, and then that's how many dollars you would make a month. It's not a lot. Most independent artists, like with all of the services added together, probably make like $250,000 a year, maybe. And that's with everything. That's not just like, that's Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Deezer, Tidal, this one, that one, YouTube. So you got all of your cumulative streams, whatever little money you make there, plus all of your views on YouTube, plus if your social media is monetized, all that, you might make $250,000, maybe.
I mean, $250,000 isn't a small amount of money, but I'm just saying,
Compared to somebody that
that's
get
not
a $10 million deal out the gate.
Let's not sneeze on that. It's not a small amount of money.
Right.
I'm just, for something you put in work for once and you just kind of put out there. And
Until you see like what these people checks look like. You get 50 million streams on YouTube and you get like NBA Youngboy. He made $50,000 a month from YouTube.
Yeah, but the trick about YouTube is they go off subscribers, not just views, right? They go off subscribers. You have to have that many subscribers.
You have a subscriber base on YouTube, but it's really based on hours viewed on YouTube. So you look at somebody like him and he got 100 videos in a year on YouTube. Well, you look up his cumulative numbers, what he get a month from streams in YouTube, he probably making $100,000. $150,000 a month. And that's just streams, because everybody gangster. So you play his music, everybody like they playing his music. This TikTok, the Instagram, all of that. You make $100,000 a month just from that, but you getting half of your streaming money from YouTube. And he doing 3-4 million views a video.
Okay, so
Wow.
Yeah, the numbers they don't make sense. It's so hard to make when you do everything as an independent artist, because I write the music, produce the music, record the music, mix the music, master the music. Then got to turn around after all the money I spent to do that, if I don't own my equipment, and then have to turn around and go pay somebody to shoot the video. Got right treatment for the video, find a location for the video, I need wardrobe for the video. I gotta then shoot the video. Gotta pay somebody else or pay extra to get the video edited. I gotta chop it up for social media. And then I have to actually spend extra money to market it. Like, I feel his job, like the music part is the easy part, because when you're done with it, okay, I can just put it out and but his job, where you gotta imagine doing all of that and you gotta turn around and spend 4 to 5 times of the money that you spent to make it, to promote it. I don't necessarily have to do that. I just have to put it and find the demographic online. So when I promote it on Instagram or Facebook, you spend, $10 a day, $70 a week. Okay. I don't know how much you spending, but to market a movie, you can shoot a movie $50,000. Okay, how much it costs to market the movie? $50,000 ain't even gonna do it for real. Like, it ain't even gonna get you to travel. Like, you're gonna spend that on travel costs. I don't have to worry about that part. But it's the residual income that come behind music that's a little bit different, because again, I done already spent my budget. So I'm not, the fact that I gotta sit and wait months before I get a check.
So let me ask you this. In the old days, I know the artists, which they still do, artists were always talking about how touring brought in a significant portion of money. Yeah. Is that still a thing?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these guys is real sad at the house. Like, real sad at the house. Because when you sign a contract to go on tour, say you sign a Live Nation contract, they'll give you a number. They say, okay, you charge $100,000 a show. Well, it's a pandemic for real, so we can't even almost pay you that. But they didn't know it was gonna happen. So what they do is they sign your contract and they front your first half. So you'll get your first, here go your deposit. You imagine all your shows getting canceled, so there is no back end, but you already spent the money already.
Oh.
So you're supposed to make $10 million on tour. You get $5 million up front, and then you spend it, expecting the $10 million, because you're touring an album that you put out in 2019. So you sat all 2020, spent all your money all 2020, and you don't get the back end. So you missed $5 million, plus you didn't make any new music until 2021. So now you can't tour at all. So these guys is at the crib sad. That's why those parking lot shows here in Atlanta, they super important. Like, super important for a lot of artists, because they not getting paid a lot. Yeah, we're going to pay you $10,000 to come, like, do a parking lot show. I mean, people at the parking lot, my boy,
yeah, it was a social distance, so you can't have so many people in that parking lot.
Yeah, but touring is probably one of the most important parts of, especially for independent artists, because if you can just so happen to get on one of those tours, opening act, you making $1,500 to $10,000, depending on your following and your record. If you make $5,000 a show, and you could do 20 to 30 shows on a 80 show tour.
So that's my next question. How important is collaboration for independent artists?
It's not necessarily the collaboration, it's the connection. I don't want to do a song with you, but my manager needs to know your manager, because when you go on tour, I want to be there. Because what you charging and what people are paying for your merch, they might just so happen to buy my t-shirt because I'm there. Even if they don't pay it, if they see it, oh, I remember him, you remember he went on tour with, you know what I'm saying? Then when you go back out and I come back out, now I got new merch and I got the old merch.
So is that the new thing? Like merchandise? I see that a lot more than I used to. Is that the new thing?
Yeah. It's hard for independents, but it worked.
How's it hard for independent?
Because you got to have a marketing budget to promote it in those same spaces that the bigger artists, you don't see me with them. So I got to put my stuff where their stuff is. Yeah. You lose a lot. You lose a lot of money. But the gains is crazy. Because if they just so happen to buy a Travis Scott t-shirt and my t-shirt on the same website right under his shirt $100, my shirt $30. What you think they're gonna buy? They might not have $100 to spend, plus the $15 for the shipping. But they got the $30. So they can get my t-shirt, my hoodie, and a hat, $75. Man, what was this double R dude? I don't know, but this shirt hard. Like, you can win. You can win. You just gotta be able to put your stuff in the same place as the people that got the budget.
All right, so we're gonna. He does this every time he's on the show on Fridays. This is what he does. So this is show-stopping ideology. He knows what he's talking about. But we're gonna take our first break, and when we come back, we're gonna take a look at acting, the acting world, with Mr. Jason. So stick around, the Leadership and Television Show with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. All right, everybody, we are back on the Leadership and Television Show with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. So Double R just left everybody's mouth open because this world of music is a whole nother creature, especially from somebody who's my age, which is 41, and going from records to CDs to MP3s and how artists get paid. But we're going to shift now. So we're going to the world of acting with the renowned Mr. Jason Lauder. So tell us about how you got into it. When did you get started? How long you been in it?
Okay, so to make a short story long, acting essentially found me, and I tell everybody that because I was a teacher prior to acting. I taught at 2 different private schools here in Atlanta, one Romar Academy and one Imhotep Academy. I was teaching for 17 years, and so in 2009. One of my friends called me, Kwame Scott, shout out to Kwame Scott. He was also, so I did music as well. So when you talk about music, I'm like, oh wow, it's just good to hear. It's interesting to hear more about it. But so we did music and previously, and he said, hey man, I mean, you're the hype man of our group, so you always hype. There's an audition that they're doing at Georgia State, and Shaka Zulu, his sister, is doing the play, so you should go and audition. And I was like, audition? Well, I mean, okay, yeah, okay, cool. So I went down to Georgia State, and actually, I had left soccer practice because I coach soccer as well. I used to coach soccer as well.
Really?
Yeah. So I was leaving soccer practice when he called me, and I went straight there. And I was like, okay. So when I arrived, they were like, okay, here's the sides. And I was like, what? They were like, sides. They were like, I said, what do we want me to do? They was like, oh, you're green. And I was like, yeah. I've never done this before. They were like, okay. So, okay, take the sides, fill out the form or whatever, with your name. And so I did all that. And then I started reading the sides, and I was like, wow, this is deep. Wow, okay. So I got them. They called me into the room. We started reading. I started reading with the director, and something happened. And it was like, whoa, what is this? And so we were just going back and forth. And so I was like, oh, wow. So she was like, thank you. And so there was another director. She was like, hey, can you read mine too? And I was like, yeah. So I got it. And we go back and forth. I was like, holy crap, what is happening to me? And so there's another director. She's like, hey, can you use a Jamaican accent and read mine? I was like, I mean, I could try. So I got hers. We went back, and it was like, wow. So essentially, I left, and that evening, the director of the entire program, Dr. Sherlyn Holmes, she called me. She was like, Jason Lauder, Mr. Lauder, she said, you got cast in all of the productions, but that's not going to happen because that wouldn't be fair for you or for the other directors to split your time, and you've never done this before. So you get to pick 2. So I picked the one with Dr. Asante. She's now with Dr. Asantewa Asuni Ali. Her piece was called Our Liberated Justice, and the other one, I can't think of the sister's name.
I can't help you, so
I can't think of the sister's name right now, but hers was called Salam, and it was about a Muslim terrorist. I did both of those, and it was essentially a director's. It was more like their final projects. So each director had a 10-minute play that they created, and so I did two of those, and that's when that bug hit me, and the love hit me, and we've been in a love affair ever since. Me and acting, I've been in love with acting since that day.
So what is it like to? Because you're kind of like me. Like I tell people, I fell into all of this. I didn't go to school for any of this. I fell into all of this and just kind of figured it out.
Right.
So how was that process for you? Like having to get headshots and sending them around. Like it's different when you walk into something and it kind of blesses you versus when you try to mimic that success. It's like, okay, so how do I actually do this?
Right.
So what was that like?
You know what? Because everybody's journey is unique within itself. So mine is truly unique. You know what I'm saying? And Bobby can attest to it. You know what I'm saying? So I guess once that bug hit me, I was like, I want to do this all the time. And so I submitted myself. I was on Love to Act. That was one of the first acting.
Please tell me that's a reality show.
No, it was an acting database where you would go online and look for opportunities, and you would submit yourself. So I was on there, and then I said, let me take classes. So I started looking for classes. So I took classes with Freddie Hendricks, with Greg Allen Williams, with Victor Love. I was just taking everybody's classes. Blueprint for acting. I was like, let me train, let me study.
Let me ask you a question in that space. Are those beneficial? If there's an actor who's trying to learn the craft, is it beneficial to take classes with renowned stars? I've always wondered that. Does it help? I mean, I'm sure it helps. Does it make a difference?
You know what? I think it's essential for you to train, and whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out. So regardless of who you're training with, if you put in the work, you're going to reap the work. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely tell young actors or up and coming actors, find a good studio that you can sink into and build your tribe, because that's who you're going to be building with. You know, the actors in class, that's who push you. I mean, we would push each other, because somebody would do a scene and it'd be like, whoa, I don't know if I could do that. So let me see what I got to step my game up. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in this class with people who are training as hard as you are. So, you know, I definitely tell people to do that. Find a very solid, and there's some great studios here in Atlanta. Some really strong acting studios here. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean to break your concept.
No.
So you were saying that you did that.
Yeah, so the classes, and then in class, Greg Allen Williams was great because he would teach a little bit about the business in class as well. So he wouldn't just teach us the different he really didn't have a technique, but he wouldn't just teach us the theory of acting. He would say, okay, headshots, this is what you need, headshots. We're going to set up a headshot day for everybody. So he set up a headshot day for everybody. And I mean, I had no idea what headshots was, but he set it up for us. That was my first headshot with Greg Allen Williams.
Even I know what a headshot is. Even I know what a headshot is.
Listen, I was new. I was a baby. I was a baby in this.
That's like common now. Everybody knows you have a headshot.
Oh, but I never acted before. I mean, I was just new into the acting. So inside of that, but you know, once I started hearing those terms, headshot, resume, CV, you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, okay, got to get out. So Greg Allen did that headshot, and then I started submitting more, like I was on Actors Access, another database that actors must use to look for work, especially when you're independent. And so once I started doing that, work started to open up. I was doing stage plays. Oh God, I love theater. See, and so theater, that's my first home. That's my first love, because that's where I learned. That's where the acting started, in theater, for me. And so once I was doing theater, I was doing 2 and 3 plays at a time, and I was like, yes, give me more, which I wouldn't recommend. Do one play at a time.
I was thinking that. I was like, that's the lines and memorizing, because there's a lot of memorization that goes into all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is what stopped me from being an actor. I was like, wait, I have to be on script, because this I can be off script and kind of do my thing. But to actually be in a movie or a play, and there's a script you have to follow, and that your part feeds into other parts.
Yes.
Yeah, that I digress.
It's a craft.
Clearly you mastered it to be able to do 2 at a time.
Yeah.
You gotta remember he made music too, so like,
Yes.
with music, you gotta remember those lines.
Yep.
I mean, you're a rapper, I guess. I mean, if it's a
singers.
song,
So, yeah.
yeah, but it was a song that you came up with. I can remember the lyrics of the song I wrote versus a script.
It don't matter.
Okay, everybody shaking their head at me. Fine.
Especially when the lights get in your face, you're on stage, and that's why everybody sing it.
Yes.
It's really tough.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, fine. I digress. Y'all know more about this.
So that I guess me being so passionate about it, it helped drive me, and the more I learned, the more I just kept growing, right? And so one day I did a stage play. I was at work, so I was still teaching the same time I was doing all this. I was teaching, and yeah, I was still teaching, but my school supported me. They were like, "Hey, okay, we'll come and see you. We'll do da 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 da." I mean, they were really supportive. If I needed to go to an audition, they were like, "Okay, how long is it? When you need to get back?" I asked your coworkers, and I was like, "Okay, I need to be back in an hour." They were like, "All right, you got an hour. We'll hold down your class 1 hour." I'll run, go to the audition, come back. Yeah, so I mean, just crazy, right? But in all of that, one of the parents at the school, she was like, "Hey, my church is doing a play, and they lost an actor, but we heard that you act. So can you come in?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I did this play at this church. And after the play was over, the director, she was like, "Hey, I used to work for Tyler Perry Studios, and I really think that you're really good. Do you have an agent?" And I was like, "No." She was like, "I want to connect you with my agent." And so she connected me with an agent in South Carolina, coastal talent, Linda.
What part of South Carolina? You know I'm from South Carolina.
When you said that, I was like,
I'm
"Wait,
from South Carolina.
Charleston?"
I used to live in Walterboro, right by Charleston.
Wow.
Imagine that.
It's called the Isles of Palms.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's a nice part.
Oh.
She's a nice.
Yeah,
part.
she
fancy.
she fancy.
She fancy.
So we talked. We ended up talking for about an hour, and after right before she hung up, she was like, "We want to sign you," and I was like, "Okay," and I've been with them ever since. That was in 2014.
What are the expectations for an agent? Now that you've had some time to have one, what should be expectations when you get an agent?
So what do they expect from us?
No, what should they expect? New artist that signs, what should they expect from
Oh, okay. So they should expect to be on all of the casting databases, like 1-800 casting, Actors Access, LA Casting, casting networks. They want you to be on all those databases. They want you to have up-to-date headshots, up-to-date resumes. They want all your profiles on all those databases need to be up to date. So those are the primary, and then they want you to be in class, or they want you to be training. So
do they facilitate? Now I know they probably don't pay for it, but do they facilitate it? At least tell you, hey, there's this class going on.
Yeah. Some do, some don't. Yeah, some do, some don't. But their expectation is for you to always be, elevating or bettering yourself, so they can then pitch you more, or they can then say, "Hey, my client was in a play last week, or is in a play coming up. These are two casting directors. Can you go see my client? They're in a play." And some casting directors love that. They love to say, "Oh wow, your client is their craft. They're honing their craft," and they love to come and see that, because outside of the audition, they don't get a chance to see you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they love that. So, and they want you to be in communication, but not a lot of communication. They expect you to say, "Hey, I just want to let y'all know, got new headshots. Take a look at them. Let me know what you think." And then they'll pick, the two or three that they like. One theatrical, one commercial. Yep, one theatrical, one commercial. And so, or hey, I just want to let you know, I just booked this short film with Bobby Huntley. So, up and coming direct, what I'm saying? The next man, the next man to do it.
I just want to say these two were really excited to see each other, so that if you can see the look on their face, they kind of finish each other's sentences.
My guy, right?
They were really excited to see each other.
For sure.
Not me, it's my show, but they were really excited to see each other. I don't know what that's about. All right, so being on the set of Black Lightning,
Yes.
what was that like?
Oh my God. It's been amazing. Like, it's been an amazing ride. So
Actually, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Because Black Lightning seems to be an anomaly to get that kind of role with a black superhero, the first of its kind on actual TV, not just like in movies.
Right.
So how to get there? What was that like? What was that journey to get there?
Oh, okay. So my agent sent me in an audition. She was like, "Hey, you have an audition for this new TV show, Black Lightning." And I was like, "Oh, sweet. Okay, cool." So I look it up. I'm like, "Oh crap, this is a black superhero." And I'd never heard. I'm not a comic book head like that.
I don't think it's wildly popular. I don't think Black Lightning was wildly popular.
Well,
I never heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. So, but the comic book heads, they knew Black Lightning. You know what I'm saying? So when I got it, I was like, "All right, cool." So I did a little research or whatever, and I submitted my audition. My audition was for this character named Joey Toledo. So I submitted my audition, and I didn't know. I was just kind of like he was like a hardened criminal guy who was working with the 400 gang. You know what I'm saying? So he's a hard guy. But my agent, she was like, "Okay, you didn't get Joey Toledo, but they want to offer you another role called Two Bits." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know who Two Bits is." So she sent me a comic book, the Black Lightning, the first edition of Black Lightning, and she was like, she circled all of Two Bits' like parts, and I was like, "Whoa." So and she was like, "Do you realize who this guy Two Bits is? Like, first of all, he's married to Jefferson Pierce's sister. Second of all, he is Black Lightning's informant. Third, he gets into the 400 gang, and then they elevate him to 25 bits. This is all in the comic book." So I'm like, "What is going on?" So I'm like, "Yes." So essentially, the first day on set, I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to go." They sent me the script, everything. I was ready, and I met the director, and it was just kind of like, "All right, cool." I met Cress. I was like, "Scooter." I'm like, "I'm sorry."
Right.
I was like, "Scooter."
Yeah, that's kind of where a lot of us know him from. Yeah.
He was like,
Living single.
"What's up, brother?" I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I know." He was like, "No, it's cool. It's cool." So, we go through the scene. Mike Schultz is the director. So I'm like, "Whoa, Mike Schultz. Oh my God, this guy, a legend, right?" So that kind of makes me nervous a little bit. And we go through the scene. He said, "Let's just go through a rehearsal." So we go through rehearsal. We do that. "All right, let's do a take." So we go through it. He says, "Cut." He comes over. He was like, "Hey, listen, I need you to give me something that's where you're like, you're aggressive, but then you also know your place, because Cress, Jefferson, he's above you, so you don't want to step out of line."
All right, hold that thought. We'll take a break. All right, so we're going to take our next commercial, and when we come back, we'll have more with Mr. Lauder
Yes.
and the Black Lightning Set on the Leadership in Television Show with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. All right, so we're back, and Jason, you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
To wrap that thought.
Okay.
So then you run the Bobby time, and Bobby like to give faces and looks that I can see because I'm sitting across from him. So you got 30 seconds.
Got it. So essentially, Mike Schultz cut the scene. He cut 3 times, and essentially was like, he pulled the director over. They go talk. Cress is like, "Listen, brother, you're supposed to do this. This is why you're here." So I'm like, "Oh God.
He gave you a pep talk?
Yes. He said, "Don't get in your head," because I by 3 cuts. I'm in my head now. I'm like, "Oh God," because Mike's giving me 3 different directions. "I want you to do this. No, do this. But look like this, but sound like this. But try this." And I'm like, "Oh God." And so he comes back and he's like, "All right, this is what we want." And Cress is like, "Nope, we got it, Mike." He says, "Okay." He goes back. Action. Me and Cress go back and forth. Cut. He said, "That's it." And I'm like, "Thank you, God." And Cress was like, I said, "Brother, thank you so much." He said, "Brother, that's what I'm here for. He said, that's what we're here for. I'm the lead I'm number 1 for a reason, and I'm here for you." And I was like, Wow, man. Yeah.
All right, nice place to end your segment. All right, so now we're going to shift to the world of independent filmmaking, which I believe is a whole other creature on the other side, on the other aspect of this. So, Bobby, tell us about how long you've been in it, how you got in it, all that good stuff.
About 20 years in this journey of filmmaking, directing. I got my first camera on my 10th birthday, and I've been rolling ever since.
How old are you now?
31.
Okay, carry on. 20 years, that means that math didn't make any sense. Okay, I'm going to let you have that math.
But no, it's like when you find out you have a camera in your hand and people will do what you tell them to do, it's like, okay, this is my life now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's not kind of fun. That's how that worked out?
That's all you need, a camera in your hand. And, you know, I saw that my family reacted to me, differently. Like every Sunday we get together, do these skits and things. And, it was like, Bobby, put in your movie, what y'all just made. We did commercials and all these things. We would watch Mad TV and recreate it. That was my Saturday Night Live, And even, take it to school. My teachers would let me do, little skits and documentaries instead of writing papers. And senior year in high school, went to a thing called OEC where half the day you would go to off campus. And they had film classes there. My mom forced me to take it. I was like, I don't want to do that. But then that's when I learned that you could actually go to college. And from there, I went to AIU and I learned my craft. And it's been on and on ever since, pretty much.
All right, so like your first, this movie that you're doing now, is this your first movie or is this?
Oh, no.
So tell me about your first time as a filmmaker.
Well, really, so right after I graduated, and it's a full circle moment too. So right after I graduated, I just had this random idea of this thing I wanted to do, and I grabbed a friend of mine, and I just decided, hey, let's do a period piece. So we went to Goodwill, got some clothes, and we were just piecing together little funny moments and little skits, started adding people to it, and that project became Herbert and Cleophas and the Unfortunate Chronicles of the Kidnapping of Miss Ella Finn, which is, I do long titles.
I was going to say, that is a very long title. I was trying to follow you. I was
it's
like,
an attention grabber because automatically people are like, what? What'd you say? Say that again. So,
because I'm getting ready to say that. Say that again?
Yeah, Herbert and Cleophas and the Unfortunate Chronicles of the Kidnapping of Miss Ella Finn. And it's like Color Purple meets Harlem Nights meets Hoodlum, all these things. And we did it with no money. We had the hair, clothes, even cars. Shot in, clubs out here and everything. And it took us about 2 years to pull everything together. But the interesting thing about that was the movie never came out. I sat on it because I got in my head, developed a complex, like, oh, it's not right, it's not perfect, it looks cheap, it's this and that. And had I not been so much in my head, I would have realized, like, just put it out. Somebody will see it. Somebody will see, the possibilities in you, what you could be if you had all the right elements together. I didn't know anything about film festivals then. My biggest thing was like, we didn't have the music, because it's a period piece. I wanted all authentic music and, musicians, I had the worst luck. But we couldn't put it out with temp music with like Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald and all that thing, all that stuff. And then, somebody would come, okay, well, I have money. All those things. I didn't know that at that time. So long story short, 10 years later, I'm about to not only release the film, but release it in the form of a behind the scenes documentary where I got all the actors back together. Because it was 2 years of our lives. We share our stories, like what it was like to make the movie, how we felt when the movie didn't come out. I went to a depression. It was crazy. One of my lead actresses, she got cancer. Another one witnessed a murder and had to disappear. It was just a wild ride. Whoa. And even just for me to understand and get out of my own funk, like for actors to develop and spend that much time on a project, especially because we didn't have money, nobody was getting paid. One of my actors wanted to fight me, so I didn't even know that.
Wait, what?
Like, I was looking for you for 2 years. Like, we worked forever on this movie, and like it was just so much. So there's going to be a documentary coming out, documentary feature film about the making of that film, because I feel like as artists, we all have those projects or these ideas that didn't really come to fruition for whatever reason. So I'm treating it almost like a master class to do these great things or have these great ambitions, but it doesn't really turn out the way you want them to. So even 10 years later, my actors can see the hard work that they did and everybody can see it, and we can finally enjoy the film as we originally intended. So look out for that. I'm really excited about it.
All those aspects sound like a whole other movie, like being chased down.
To make a movie, it's so much, and then everybody has their lives and things going on, and it's so much stuff. So even the story behind the film, because we had so much fun making it, but we all had life going on at the same time. So being able to take a look back as artists into the human aspect of it, you know, just even for me, like understanding where my anxieties and things coming from, and just getting out of your head, getting out of your own way, which we tend to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be a very powerful watch. You know, we were crying and stuff because we haven't all been in a room together in 10 years. Wow. So it was a beautiful experience.
I probably want to fight you too. And put all that work into it.
Oh yeah,
I probably want to fight you too. I mean, like, I'm mad about it. Like, just tell you talking about it.
Ever since then, I've been like, no matter what, the project's got to come out. The actors got to get their shine. This is about them. So I've learned to get out of my own way and just put it out.
So let me ask you, since you're farther along in this, what are the elements that a independent filmmaker should need outside of money? Like, what are the other elements that they should need to be a good independent filmmaker?
No matter what, this project will be completed. We will get it done, and it'll get out there.
But let me ask you that, is that good or bad? Like, my team was working on a documentary, and we were having that conversation. Like I said, I know a little bit about a little bit about a little bit. So I was like, are we really supposed to be using this? And should we be using this? And then they were like, no, in documentaries, it's okay to use cheap mics. And is that a thing, or?
Well, you have a little bit more leadway in documentaries because, you know, they're more run and gun on the fly. You just capture the moment as best you can. Put little subtitles at the bottom if the audio isn't perfect. You know, you have a little bit more leeway. But, you know, when you're dealing with like narrative films, short films, and things like that, you have to be as on top of the ball as you can, especially with audio. You cannot play with audio. You can have bad video.
Yeah, the audio, I'm learning. Yeah.
You can't play with your audio. But then you just find creative ways to fix your mistakes, or, you know, filmmaking is nothing but problem solving. So it just constantly stretches and flexes that muscle. So this didn't work out. This broke. Okay, how can we go around it? You have to be on your toes all the time. As a director, people coming at you with questions. Let's cover. Oh, what's wrong with it? Okay, we can't use it. Or here is doing this. You just constantly have to be on it. You know. So just have the solid team around you to help you, because it's very easy to want to give up and throw it all away, and, you know. But you got to keep going.
I mean, this is a headache. So I can't imagine taking that 2 steps higher as a filmmaker. So in Atlanta, do you think it's fairly easier to be able to find a team that will see your vision and go, you know what, don't worry about paying me, I'm good, I'll get involved, and actually stick with it?
100%. I mean, I've traveled all over the country and, you know, built tribes in a lot of different cities, but nothing is like, to me, Atlanta, because we have an interesting dynamic and perspective, because we're kind of second to Los Angeles, you know, the New York market as well. So we have a bit of that new Hollywood thing where it's still new, but we're still gaining our professionalism, but we're not jaded by it. Like if you try to do a project or something in LA, everybody's done something. Everybody knows somebody who's done something or hasn't done something. So you get a lot of let's do lunch energy. You know?
You say let's do lunch energy?
Right. Have your people call my people. I'm like, yo, you work at Arby's. What do you mean? What people? Like, either we're going to do this or not. You know what I'm saying?
You do that here, right? They do that here too.
It doesn't happen to me. So.
Oh, you're fortunate. You're fortunate.
You know, so it's definitely a blessing, but it's all about finding your tribe, find somebody that believes in what you're doing. And it's all about the story. Even if it's not about the story of what's on the page. Why are we doing this? Why do we need to do this? Why are you telling this story? So if we can make that captivating, you know, you can get anybody on your team.
Film festivals.
Yes.
Is that something an independent filmmaker should aspire to, or that's in addition to whatever vision you have for the movies that you're making?
100% film festivals are super important. It costs a lot of money. You're spending $20, $30, $50, $100 a pop to submit to them. There's no guarantee that you'll get into them, so you have to actively campaign, send emails. Hey, I submitted my film. I would love to be a part of your festival, blah, 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 blah. But you know, you got to just build those relationships. Actually, physically going, if you can. You know, my family worked for the airline, so I fly free. So get an airline job if you have to.
You just got all these perks. What?
You know, God is looking out.
We're going to talk after the show. We're going to talk
about how you live, man.
Always go to these festivals if you can, if you can make it, because you never know who's going to be in the audience. There was one festival, small festival in Detroit. I thought, I don't really feel like going. But there was a Paramount Studios executive in the audience because they were childhood friends with the people running the festival. And I got my first on the studio lot in LA interview meeting with the studio exec just because he happened to be sitting in the audience. Missed the wrong film, so he just sat in the chair and he watched my film.
Are you serious?
So you never know who's going to be in the room building these relationships and things like that. Like I just came from a small festival in New Orleans. I'm building a community. I'm building a community there right now for my next film, Louisiana 1961.
Yeah.
So just, you know.
like these timepiece things.
You have, yeah, it's kind of like my
these
lane. I
timepiece
love
things.
it. It's difficult, it's expensive.
Just
but
that fast, I picked up on that.
But you know, it's all about building the relationships and being in the room. And that's why I'm super excited for Connect. Flying out to LA. I haven't been to LA in a year and a half. And we're going to be one of the first films to screen in a movie theater since the pandemic. So it's like, it's amazing. So we'll have the whole red carpet experience. You know, my management and agent will be there. We'll be inviting all these people and entities to come check us out. And that's all through film festivals, you know.
So for independent filmmaker, is it the message that should be the most important thing, especially if you don't have the budget or the resources, that the message is so strong that it resonates with an audience, or is it just kind of luck of the draw and you just kind of do what you do, put it out there and see what happens?
No, everything has to have a meaning and an intention behind it. Subconsciously, all those things, you contextual, like it, you cannot play around with anything like that because the audience will pick up if you're just trying to do something just to do it. It will not connect with them. So as long as you're very clear of who you are as a person, what your voice is, you know, what you have to say, that's what will make people draw to you. And then you can tell whatever story that you want. You can say this or do that. You can do whatever you want. But the audience got to know who you are first and trust you as an artist within them.
All right. So we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we're going to get into resolutions for some of the issues these gentlemen have run into. So stick around, the Leadership in Television Show with your host, Ricardo D. Rice. All right, so we're back, and these three gentlemen have been amazing, and now we're getting to the solutions part. We don't want to just have a conversation just to have conversation. We want to come up with some solutions. So I'm going to start with Double R again. So this debacle that you kind of dropped in our laps at the beginning of the show, you know, what is the resolve for artists? Like, how should you make your money? Where should you focus most of your energy to really get the desired outcome, which has probably become a legend? Where would you focus that energy?
Creating. Make the music. Put the music out. That used to be like the hard part. Like, create a body of work. And you're like, but is it good enough? But is it good? But is this song, am I gonna get seen? Put the music out. Find a way to work a marketing budget into your daily life. Every day you need to be trying to make an amount of money that you can survive, and I can put some money towards marketing my music. Expanding towards merch and being on social media. You know, I don't even like the internet.
We have this fight, I swear, every 2 weeks.
I don't like the
about
internet, but somehow people be on it.
I keep trying to check. Actually, out of all you three, he has the best social media. Like, his is lit. Like, I was actually impressed when he was recommended for. Why you got a look on your face?
Oh, good. Thank
You've never seen. He barely has any. And Jason barely has any, so I think we have the best social media, but yours is really good. But I just want to throw that out there.
Because I feel like the work, like a lot of the people, when you talk to people face to face, the last thing they ask you for is like your Instagram.
I don't know who you're talking to. That's usually the first thing they ask me for.
I'm not meeting those. Like, when I'm in the studio, people will ask for that. But it's like, hey, so like they told me you write songs, like we got a session going on. You wanna? I'm not like, hey, can I get your Instagram? I'm not doing that first. I'm gonna grab my book bag, gonna grab me some juice. I'm finna go from the studio session I'm in to the studio. Like, I'm not even going to sleep.
We talking about the average Joe. The average Joe comes up to you, you say I'm an artist.
It depends on how you record. When you record in public, like it literally worked like that. You record at a studio where multiple people record at, you never know who you're gonna see. You never know who gonna be coming out of a studio or the next hot producer that's in the other room. You meet that guy, you get a beat from him, you make the song on the spot. You never know what that session could look like or what the next session could look like. Again, I've been fortunate enough to be able to buy and afford my own equipment. But the difficult part is that I don't go to those studios often. So you'll go to a studio where everybody goes and you're there for one night and you might meet a few people and build a few relationships so you can work. But then like, I don't go to those studios on the regular, so they might not ever see me again.
So let me ask you this. What is two of the biggest obstacles? Because I spanned you from 2009 to now. What are two of the biggest obstacles that you've encountered in that span of time that you would speak on to
Getting out
up and
my
coming?
own way. Like he said, like when you literally put your pen on the paper and you say, okay, I got this idea, and you write that idea out, like the full idea, and then you read it, and then you go create the idea, and then you sit back and look at it or listen to it. And the first thing that come in your mind, like, I don't know if it's good enough. I should have did, or I could have did. Well, it's done now. That's the first thing. Get out your own way. And the second thing, now is social media. You gotta be active on it. Even though I do not like the internet, I have to be active on it. And I think that those two things, even a small inkling of success, is mild success to other people.
All right. So, Mr. Jason.
Yes, sir.
We spoke about this vaguely,
Yes.
about we hear this tone in Hollywood about minority actors and not having a wide range of acting parts for these type of actors. Have you encountered that? Is that something you would speak on to, that there's something that African American or minority up and coming actors should be mindful of?
You know, I think when we spoke, I was just sharing how, you know, Hollywood is what it is, you know, and it's that's, we know the structure, we know the history of it. More recently than not, there have been more opportunities for independent, for art creators, to now utilize some of these new platforms that are becoming more prevalent and more present. So I think that because of that, you have the opportunity to create your own content. And back in the day, they didn't have that opportunity to do that. So I said, oh, you know what? I got an idea. Y'all not casting me. I'm going to cast myself. And I'm going to be the lead, you know? So that, and then I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to put it on Vimeo. Is that Vimeo? So, you know, like that also is becoming more, you know what I'm saying? The opportunities are starting to become more, they're starting to branch out more. And then the Issa Rae, and she has this thing called Build Your Own Table. And I'm like, whoa. So you got all these different, you know, people, minorities, if you will. Because I don't like that you were using you got different spaces for people who have not normally had the opportunity to be represented as much. Now those opportunities are becoming more and more and more and more.
So I think there's a space for authenticity. There's a legislation that they passed called the Crown Act in corporate America that deals with the hair of minorities, especially black folks, that they can't be discriminated against. There's an actual bill called the Crown Act. So you think there's more space for authenticity in Hollywood for African American actors and things that matter, that they can have the dreads and not have to conform and get a fade or stuff like that. So that's basically.
Yeah, I think that is, I mean, they signed a Crown Act. That's amazing, first of all. But like, I think that, you know, people are starting to tell stories that are more non-traditional and more just real, like real life. My doctor has locks. My dentist has locks. So people have locks, you know. So it's like, oh, I could put these people in these stories because that's that's not something that's not normal. You know what I'm saying? And I just say, I tell actors, because another brother and I, we had a conversation. He was like, man, should I cut my hair? It's like, brother, first of all, whatever your heart and spirit tells you to do, if you feel like you need to do that, then do that. But at the end of the day, you can only be your best authentic self. And that's all you can be. And what's for you is for you. So if this role is asking you to cut your hair, if it's not for you, then brother, leave it alone, because it's not going to be for you. What's for you is going to come to you. No regardless of your hair, your skin, whatever. It's for you. So, yeah.
Bobby, why you look so nervous? We've been on this show for like almost an hour now. Why you still look nervous? Like, what? You lucky. You already know the question I'm getting ready to ask you. I might word it differently, but you already know the question I'm getting ready to ask you. You lucky. All right. So there was a question from the staff about balance, especially particularly, and I'm going to pair that. So my question to you is: you spoke about your first play and how you kind of tabled it because you wasn't confident in it, and that spiraled you. So my question would be: how should an up and coming filmmaker find a balance that keeps them from going to that dark place? And you can use your lived experience because that'll probably be easier for you. As crazy as it would be, your whole segment has been a ride. So,
well, no, you just kind of have to, humble yourself, because when you get in your head and think something's not good enough, that's practically your ego chipping away at you. And when you humble yourself, you be like, I might not have this, I might not have that right now, I might not have this resource, but I'm still doing it and I'm getting it done. I guarantee you somebody will see you and want to sow into you and want to help you and get you to that next step, that next level. And, even in my day-to-day, my life stuff and just trying to live and function as a human in this world, I've gotten to that place where, people sow into me to help me, because I'm a strong believer of what you focus on grows. I focus on filmmaking and storytelling. All day, every day. I do nothing else. I now have supporters and investors and people who believe in me and make sure that I have everything that I need in order to function and to do the things that I need to do as a creative and storyteller every day. And it just happened within the past couple of years. But that was years and years of grinding and hard work and going without and sacrificing. But when people see how hard you work, they're willing to get behind you and work hard along with you. So it really starts with you and your mind and just being very dedicated to the art form and the craft. If you are, I guarantee you, everything will fall into place as it should.
So if you build it, they'll come.
100%.
He asked that question like he don't already know that.
It was a staff question. I asked it on behalf of the staff. You're welcome, Sierra. It was a staff question. So there you go.
You have to have faith. Like I literally be like, okay, I'm shooting this film. I always date out. So 2 months from now, this is the date we're filming. I don't have crew. I don't have budget. I don't have this. I don't have that. I guarantee you, I'm getting on the phone like, hey, I'm about to do this thing. You want to go on this journey with me? Cool. Reach out to people. Hey, you want to sew into this project? I can give you producer credit. How much can you give me? Bet. Cool. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you just have to have a day. Like, we're shooting on this day, no matter what. If we're just shooting on the iPhone, it don't matter. We're filming this project.
Is that a thing?
Not to me, but yeah, to somebody it is.
I just threw shade like that, but okay, that's good. That was a lot of shade. In that second, you threw like a lot of shade.
The number one thing is like, it's about the story, period. But when Hollywood tells you, oh, people are shooting movies on their cell phones, they're talking about, several $100,000 lens rig attached to it to give it a cinematic quality. They don't tell you that part.
Yeah, I never heard that. I just heard them say about cell
phones. $1 million sound package to make sure that the sound is, so it's like all these things that come with it. But I mean, there's people on TikTok, Instagram that are doing these 60-second shorts and movies and all these things that captures people's attention just as much as a tentpole Hollywood film. So just do the work.
All right, final thoughts you want to leave for up and coming film directors. I'm gonna start with you.
Just do the work.
Thanks so much.
just focus on building your audience and your craft. We're always looking out to LA and all these different entities to validate us. When you have your audience of people that's that love what you do and you're consistently giving them content, they'll look out for you. That's what I look up to Tyler Perry too. He goes directly to his audience, and that's what sustained him and built his kingdom. So I'm pretty much following that template now.
All right. Same question.
Be your best authentic you. Be your best authentic self. That's all you can be. And I would say fall in love with the process. And respect the journey. Yeah, because it's going to be a journey. This thing is not it's not a sprint. it's a marathon. So,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, well, real quick, because there's a lot of highs and lows. Because even on my social media, I shared recently because I got turned down by a big festival, Tribeca. And I was like, hey, I just got to share this because it knocked me out. Like, I had to go lay down. But I was like, no, I'm posting all these things. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm about to screen here. I'm about to do all that. But like, no, you have to share the journey. Just me sharing that disappointment, I got all these messages, these inboxes, these people. And then they start to open up. Oh, I'm going through this. I'm going through that. It just changed the trajectory of my life just from that one message. So be open and honest about everything. Don't just share your highs, share your lows, because people need to see that too. It's definitely a journey.
Yes.
So you gonna sit there like you don't know you next? Like what is happening right now?
I mean, that's kind of like been what I've been doing. You know, that's my album. It's called Journey of a Dollar. Like that's capturing the essence of what this feels like, going from like nothing to what I deem as success. Finished product is success to me. Because the work that you put into it, especially when you're creating it from scratch, like when you sit down, okay, I have an idea for this album. I have this concept for a project. And it just so happened that that one idea turned into 5 albums. You know what I'm saying? So imagine it's like, okay, well, we want to do Fast and Furious 9. All right, what about the first 2? No, we thinking about the last one. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I've been doing. Like, I would just tell people, make sure that when you sit down with those ideas, follow through. Follow through, because you'll get down and you'll get an idea and oh, this sounds so good or it looks so good, but I don't got no money or it don't matter. Like he said, the people that need to be there, they'll find you somehow. You just gotta be authentic. Hey, this is what I want to do. I don't have much, but this is what I can offer. Can you help? And sometimes just that little, I used to be so bad at asking for help. Yeah, I'm talking about I wouldn't call nobody asking for nothing. Like I can't record today. I don't have no studio to go to. Where my phone at? When I could just call somebody that I work with. Got a whole studio in this house. I didn't even know it. You know, ask for help. Follow through with the work and put it out. And it's like a freeing moment. Like that weight. You know what? Carrying that weight.
I'm laughing because we have these conversations all the time. That's why I'm
carrying
laughing.
That weight of creativity. Like it's a weight. And when you put that stuff, when you put the product out, when you put the project out, it's like a breath of fresh air. And now you get to watch people enjoy what you did. Even if you're not fully satisfied, they like, oh man, like that one, you like, but I messed up right there. But they don't see it as that. They're like, that's dope. Oh, I thought you did that on purpose. Oh, you didn't see the rig come in the scene. Oh, who forgot to cut that out? That's a mistake. Oh, I thought y'all did that on purpose. No, hey, if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, good Lord, I'm done with you. All right, so I'm done with you. All right, so special thanks to our guests, my guests on today, Double R, Jason, and Bobby. And so we're gonna head out, and we will see you same time, same place on the Leadership and Television Show with your host, Ricardo D. Rice.